Hey guys, welcome back to another video here on Boreal Bushcraft Canada. Today what I'd like to talk about is our canvas haversack here. I did mention it before in other videos where we were giving some of these guys away in our drawings every month, although I didn't really run any tests with them. So in this video here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to run a water test on them, and I'm also going to customize a couple by treating them with linseed oil and a beeswax paraffin solution. And at the same time, we're also going to be washing, shrinking, and dyeing these babies. So stay with me while I move the cameras and we can run these tests. Carrying water from one place to another, you know, from a source to your camp, I'm pretty sure we can fill this baby up with water, and it's not all going to seep right through right away. See what happens. Yeah, it is leaking at the bottom a bit, but I'm sure it'll give you enough time to take her back to your camp. Your source is not that far away, and after all, you have to understand that she hasn't been treated yet. Okay. So, yeah, the water is leaking from the bottom seam over here, although it's not leaking anywhere from the side. Okay, it's sweating over here. So, you know, I filled it up right to the top. Does she hold water? Moderately. It's not a water container, although after it's been treated, I'm pretty sure it will. So, let's leave that baby over there. And let's go back to the table and I'll show you what I did with some of the other ones. Okay, so this green one that you see over here is the one that I've treated with the linseed oil. I just dredged it in linseed oil, and it's been, I would say, a few days. I would say, what, 3 or 4 days at least. And it still hasn't dried up completely, you know, because I hung it up outside, and all around the bottom part over here, it's still wet. So I'm pretty sure that this baby is going to need another, at least a week for all the linseed oil to dry. This was the green one that we had done, that we dyed green. And next to it over here, you will see the one that I treated, my favorite actually, the one I treated with a beeswax paraffin solution. This one here, after a day, it's all dried up. I'm sure it's waterproof, you know. And it's a pretty easy thing to do. It's not that hard. Your imagination will make it, you know, you can make these things look beautiful. And next to the brown one is my original. This one here, you probably seen me wear this on the field. It's a smaller bag. Okay, it's also treated with a beeswax paraffin solution. And what I did, I put a couple of patches and some leather corners here, rivets, and I affixed a little leather strap. So, you know, this is just to show you, you know, use your imagination and, you know, make these babies like the way you want. You know, you make them look the way you want. That's why I left them as a plain Jane. Okay. Now, I want to draw your attention to what's out there on the internet that you can purchase. Okay. Now, everybody knows these babies here. They're oilcloth haversacks. They've been around for the longest time, and I must say they are a good kit. These things here right now on the internet, they're running for 35 bucks. So $35, if you take into consideration the exchange rate for us Canadians, delivery costs, whatever, by the time this thing here gets to your house, okay, by the time it gets to your house, this thing will have cost you well over 55 bucks, okay? Now, what I did, all right, I developed the other haversack, the Boreal Bushcraft Canada haversack, okay? It's slightly smaller. It's about 1 inch on each side, smaller than the one that you saw before that's available out in the market, but it's only going for $19.99, guys. So the amount of money it's going to cost you to buy the ones that are made out of oilcloth on the internet, you know, you buy one of those, you can purchase 3 of of hours. So you do the math and you figure out, and you make your own decision. And now what I want to do, it's been over 10 minutes, okay? Actually, it's been 12 minutes exactly, all right? And I want to go back to the original haversack that we poured all that water into it, okay? And see how that baby is doing. So let's go over here. And as you guys can see, it is leaking, although it's not leaking as much as before. I guess what happened, the fibers shrunk and they just it became a little tighter. And how much water is in here? Guys, I filled it up to here. 10 minutes later, it's halfway. So for sure you'll be able to carry back some water in this one if you leave it as it is, as a plain Jane. You know, you don't have to treat it. You can leave it as it is. Well over 25 minutes, guys. The back is still it's still dripping, but there's still about a quarter of the bag is still about a quarter full. Okay, so what we've got here, I have 2 haversacks in this container here, in the orange container, which I'm going to be staining in dark green. And I have 2 other haversacks in this red container here, which I will be staining or dyeing in a dark brown. And what I do, I use 1 packet for 2 pieces, 2 haversacks. The directions call for 250 grams of material, but the 2 haversacks total up to like 500 grams. This way, they don't come out as dark as the instructions or the color that's marked on the box. I like it a shade lighter. So I'm going to leave these 4 sacks in this dye solution here for about an hour, and then I'll get back to you and show you what it looks like. And by the way, I'm also weighing down the 2 sacks with a couple of bricks. So I'll be back after an hour, and we're gonna rinse both these containers out with running water. Prior to putting them in this water solution, they measured in an 11 by 15. With the flap closed, of course, and I want to see how much shrinkage they have after an hour of being in warm water. I would say about 1 inch on each side, but we'll see. So bear with me, and I'll see you when it's time to rinse these babies out. Okay, so after about an hour of soaking in that dye, I removed all 4 haversacks, rinsed them thoroughly with some water, and then I put them back into that container that you see over here, in that orange container. I got all 4 of them there. The green is on the bottom and the brown is on the top. And I'm just running some clear water through them, just to get the excess dye out. Okay, so after running some clear water in the bucket with these 4 haversacks, I put them through a short cycle in the washing machine with very, very little mild soap, and hung them up to dry. And once that's done, I'm going to take measurements and see how much they shrunk, and then I'm going to proceed with the treatment. Okay, what I like to do next, after they come off the clothesline and they're nice and dry, I like to take the iron through them and give them a couple of blasts of steam and just straighten them out, you know, get all those creases off. You know, you don't have to do this, although, you know, before I put any beads on it or customize it the way I want with leather, I like to make all the surfaces nice and flat. And in order to do that, you got to pass an iron on it, or else, you know, it's going to look like one of these, you know, where it's all wrinkly and it's a little out of shape. So by passing the iron on it, you make it nice and flat. Give it a couple of shots of steam, and away you go. And now I'd like to take a look and see how much they shrunk. I said that they would shrink about 1 inch on each side. Yep. Well, it shrunk about, they were 11 by 15 originally, and now they're 10 by 15. So it's not that Let's bad. Go ahead and treat these bags, because once you treat them, you got to leave them out you got to leave them out, and you can't leave them out in direct sunlight. It's got to be in the shade, and it's got to be away from the water. You do not want to treat these bags with linseed oil and then hang them up in your garage or anything, because they will combust, okay? So let's go ahead and treat this baby. Okay, so what you see here, guys, this is a paraffin solution. It's a mixture of linseed oil, beeswax, and turpentine. The turpentine, we use it to make this stuff dry a little faster, okay? Some people don't use turpentine, they just use strictly beeswax and linseed oil, although I used all three. I've worked with this stuff a little before, and right now, once it gets cold, it hardens like a wax, okay? So what I do, I take the heat gun to it, like melt it down, and then just apply it with a paintbrush. And you got to use extra caution when you're doing this, because this thing is highly flammable. I do it outside. I never do that indoors, and I let it dry outside. So let me heat the stuff up, and I'll get back to you. Okay, guys, stay with me. So all I'm doing now is just heating it up. When it gets a little warm, liquidy. When it gets a little warm and liquidy, I just take my brush, put it in here, and just apply it all over the bag. Now, you see how messy it is here, but I'm going to show you a little trick here, okay? If you just give me a second. I'm going to do this whole side like that. And then we're going to take the gun to this. You know, you can even use your hands. I don't want to get dirty. Hey guys, watch this now. Now I'll try to zoom in as much as I could. And you take the heat gun to it. See what happens? It just liquefies. And it just gets sucked into the cotton. Now you don't want to keep your gun in one spot too long. You don't want to burn the fabric. The green one is going to get treated with linseed oil. It's just ordinary boiled linseed oil. I'm just going to pour a little bit on top of the thing and just like spread it all over the place with this paintbrush. And the thing with linseed oil, you got to be careful with it. You got to do it in an open area, like outside. Don't try doing this in your garage, because it could combust, you know. And so I'm just pouring some. I'm just working it into the haversack here. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take to dry, but I'm pretty sure it's going to take quite a bit of time, like maybe a week, maybe even more. Just going to work all this in here.